tangible feeling. So I had this crazy idea, right? I was a kid back then. I wanted to know, how does it feel to sleep on a bed of money? Have you thought of sleeping on a bed of money? Right? I mean, I did. I don't know why I did. So like, I really want to have a feeling of like, now I've made something, right? I want to have a physical feeling of it. So you want to see the picture of it? Yeah, so I took a picture of it back then. Right, you want to see a picture of it? Yes. Right, me on my bed of money. Yeah, you want to see it? All right, here we go. Yeah. So this was me back then, right? Still living with my parents, right? I mean, pardon the messiness in the room. I wasn't really prepared for this photo, but the key here is, take a look at the smile on my face. Right, you could see that I was overjoyed back then, right? I was a kid back then, right? So I was overjoyed, right? Like, it's all the hard work has finally paid off, right? The system that I've created, right? All the back testing, all the sleepless nights, right? All the countless of hours have finally paid off. So that night, I don't know, it was like one of the best sleep I had for a long time, right? So I spread out the money throughout the whole bed, and I literally slept like a baby, right? So that was me truly sleeping on a bed of money, and it felt so good, right? You want that? Yeah, you want to learn how to do this, right? So I'm going to show you how to do it today, right? So that was good, right? You think that was good? Yes. Okay. So years later, I further improved my system. Yeah, I upgraded my system. I started to learn how to make big wins a trade, like really, really big wins. So let me show you. This is one of the first trade that I took back in the days, right? So you can see at the start, the profit is $191,284. This is one trade. So the same trade continued, right? The trade continued with my system, right? This trade continued, and it grew to over 300 over 1,000. So it's one trade. It's one trade, not many trades. It's one trade, right? And by the time that I exited that trade, right at the point, I didn't take a screenshot of it. I didn't know I was going to use it, right? And the trade closed at $671,458. One trade. I was like, oh yes. Like, I was like, yes. Yeah, I don't know if you like, have you done that? Like, yes. Right? So, and this became part of my system today, which is what I call the road to millions formula. It's a good name, right? It's a good name. And that's true, right? It's what I call the road to millions formula. So these days, I make 6 figures a trade, right? So let me show you something else to further prove my point that this system works, right? So this is one account, one of my account that I made in the early 2020s, right? So I don't really post all this in the public domain. You're not going to see this anywhere else, right? Only in this webinar. Okay, so this is a screenshot that I took back then, that I grew the account. Yeah, right? So this is one of my trading account. Okay, here's the reason why I'm showing you, right? It's not like, oh, he's showing off, etc. No. If you know me, like, I'm not that kind of person, right? It's not me, right? I'm showing you to tell you that this is all possible, right? Because of my system. Because I followed the system to the T, right? Then something amazing happened, right? Words started to spread, right? So other traders, they began asking me, like, hey, Ezekiel, how do you turn things around, right? So, like, before long, I wasn't just trading for myself. I was being asked to teach my system to traders at the banks, at hedge funds and proprietary trading firms, right? So today I use this same system every time I trade. I don't stare at the charts all day. I don't chase the news. I trade less than an hour a day, right? Because my system that I've created, it does all this heavy lifting for me, right? So what was the secret that made all the difference that I would say I have in my life? It was using this step-by-step system every single time I place a trade. So I'm going to cover these 3 secrets, right? This is the point where you ready for it? Yeah. This is the point where you get out your pen of paper and pen to start taking notes, right? So secret number 1, I'm going to start, right? Secret number 1 that I'm going to show you is how to identify highly profitable trades that can make you a lot of money in under 10 minutes a day. How many of you want to learn that, right? Yeah, this is number 1 in our poll, right? So you guys want this? Yeah, Judy wants it. Yeah, Phil wants it. Chad, Drew wants it. Right, good. Right, so I'm going to show you. And we're going to cover this one, right? So this is number 1, right? Number 2, after you have gone through this trade selection process of selecting the highly profitable trades, right? Now is the time to enter the trades, right? So secret number 2 that I'm going to show you is exactly how to get like insane profits, like massive profits, and yet be risk-free. Okay? All right? Now, and then the step that people always tell me is like, okay, I know how to enter, I know how to exit, but how do I profit consistently if I'm a new trader, right? Or even an experienced trader, right? How do I profit consistently? The key is consistently, right? So the third thing that I'm going to show you guys is how to win and become profitable consistently, even if you are a new trader with zero trading knowledge at all. And yet, still be able to live a lifestyle. How many of you guys want to learn that? Yeah? So it's way easier than to stare at the charts like 10 hours plus a day. Alright, so, alright, ready? Let's begin. Alright, so now let's start with secret number 1. How to identify highly profitable trades that can make you a lot of money in under 10 minutes a day. So now, to understand this process, the first thing that you got to understand is why most traders are not making good money from trading. The reason is that, just a reason, they are mostly taking peanuts off the market. Or to put it simply, they are not capitalizing on the big gains in the market. Trading can be very profitable if you know how to take the right trades and hold on to them as they move. Right? But most traders, they do the opposite. They enter a trade and they exit it when it barely moves an inch. Because they want to I need to secure all these small profits. Right? And if they lose a trade, they lose a big one. Because they held on to it. Right? Thinking that it's going to go back in their direction. And this is what entails into they are winning small and losing big. But what we are doing is entirely different. Right? We keep our losses small. Right? And our system is designed to get big wins. So essentially, we are winning big and losing small. Right? And I can tell you this is the basis of my trading business, right? Like, it's our core mission, our core values, right? We win big and we lose small. Right? And this is how I design my entire trading system around it. Right? So like people always sometimes they ask me, hey Ezekiel, how did you get so successful so fast in trading, right? So I retired when I was 26, right? I was I retired as in I was financially free, right? Back then, right? So it's because I look at trading in a different way. While the rest of the traders, they are busy like figuring out strategies, all the tiny things that don't make money. I look at the big picture and I trade in line with the big game plan. Right? I have like $1 million target at that point. I have $1 million target. I want to make $1 million. I want to be rich, right? I have $1 million target. Right? So if you want to be successful, you got to find a trading system of someone who is already successful. And then you model it. And not to model like someone who doesn't make a lot of money from trading. So no matter like how fanciful their trading system or record may seem, because like at the end of the day, all that really matters in trading is making big money. Right? Does it make sense? Yeah. Right. So now in the early days, when I was figuring out this system, I went to study all the trade setups that move like big. I spent like hours and hours, day in and day out, right? Sleepless nights, figuring out how the patterns, the pairs, like how do I capture them in the safest way possible, and at a spot, and an entry spot where I can get like maximum returns, right? So I'm going to show you some of the big moves set up and how to identify them, right? So there are 3 steps towards this, right? The first step is to find points of at least 2 touches, right? Step number 2 is the bigger the gap, the better it is. Step number 3, right, is that if it's more than 3 times, that is the best for a solid break, right? Let's dive in. All right, so now let's talk about trade selection, right? Because trade selection is so important, right? Trade selection really means what are you going to trade? Like what pair are you looking at on your chart? So here's the leading question that you need to have when you're looking for trade setups. All right, the question is, where is the big money at? So when I open my chart, there are no indicators, no clutter, right? Just price action, right? So then I start marking the key levels, like where is price reacting to, like where are the big moves happening? So when I start seeing the patterns repeat, so for example, it could be like strong levels of support and resistance. So that's when I know I found a trade that is worth taking. All right, so if you take a look at this chart here, right? Now, it's just clean, right? It's just clean. Nothing complicated, no indicators, just pure price action. Right, so the key question is that you want to ask yourself, can you, it's like playing a game. It's like playing a game whereby can we spot pattern? All right, can we spot a pattern? So take a look at this chart. Can you spot any patterns? Yeah, not really, here and there. Okay, so now let us show out the lines. So if you look at this here, right at the bottom over here, right at the bottom over here, what you can see is that price came down to touch once, twice, thrice, and then the 4th time before breaking through. Right, so these are big gaps, right? These are big gaps. Why they are big? Right, this itself, regardless of what time frame this is, this is a monthly time frame, but regardless of what time frame this is a big gap, right? 1 big hump, 2 big hump, right? 3 big hump, right? Before it breaks, right? So now, because this is a monthly time frame, so 1 bar is 1 month. Now, obviously, if you look at the timing, this is 1992, and then when it came down to here is 2000. Right, the year 2000. So what? How many? 1992, year 1992 to 2000 is how many years in between? 8 years. 8 years before it come and respect the level that it touched 8 years before. So now 2000, it goes up and then it comes back down. to 2008. How many years? 8 years. 8 years in between. It went up and went back down again. Why did it stop here? Because this is such a strong level, right? And it took 8 years to come back down. It's definitely going to stop here, right? Before it went back up again. It went back up, and then it came back down again. And at this point, it's what? 2016. How many years? 2008 to 2016? 8 years again, right? So, like, hey, it's like a pattern. It's like, is it coincidence? Maybe, maybe not, right? So 8 years, 8 years, 8 years. What I'm saying is, it's not always 8 years, obviously, but what we are seeing is like big gaps, right? And this is a really strong key level. The higher the time frame, the more powerful it is, right? So eventually, at the fourth time, before it breaks, when it breaks, what's going to happen? It's going to drop big time, right? It's going to drop. And why is it going to drop? Because this is such a strong level, right? So when it drops, it's going to drop big time. Now, even this move over here is a lot because this is the monthly time frame. This move over here, if you just catch this move from here downwards to the low, you would have made a lot of money, right? So, and this happens at a time when it was Brexit, right? So a long time ago, but yeah, I want to show you these key levels. All right, so let's take a look at another example, okay? Now, this is gold, right? This is gold. This is a monthly time frame. So take a look at this, right? I've take a look at this example. Can you spot like any pattern over here, right? So now you see that I've drawn two lines over here, right? The white line and the orange line. Okay, now let's take a look. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. If you see this, the white line and the orange line, they are my moving averages, right? So if you see price came up to respect the level for a long time. If you see just from this point, around 1993 to over here, around 1996, it's 3 whole years of respecting a level. It couldn't break through before it dropped, right? And then it came back up here again in 2002 to test the orange line, right? It tests once, tests twice, eventually it broke, and then it came back up here to test the white line, right? Test once, test twice, and then finally it broke through at this bar itself. So this is about 2002, 2003, right? 2003. It spanned, this is 1993, right? It spanned 10 years. Respecting, couldn't break through, respecting, couldn't break through, and then it finally broke through after 10 years. Now, this is huge, isn't it? This is huge. It's like price getting congested below, and then finally when it tests, and then when it finally goes, what happens? It breaks, and then it goes, and then it's going to go, right? So like this is once, twice, then the third time it came closer, so it looks like what? When it comes closer, like this is it tests, it couldn't break, right? Then it came down, it formed a big gap, right? It tests again, all right? Couldn't break, came down. Then when it came down, it got stopped, it got supported by my orange line, right? And then it came up to test again, and then it squeezed before finally breaking through. It means what? It means it's going to go, right? And then when it ran, gold started its extremely strong bull run, right? From 2003 all the way up to at this point, about 2011, right? It started a big run of gold, right? So had you captured this, it will be an insane move. Had you decided to buy gold at this point in time, right, you would have made a lot of money, right? So then when gold came up, it came down, it formed a low, right? It formed its first low, no big deal, right? Price goes up, always forms a low, goes back up, forms a low, goes back up, forms a low, that kind of thing, no big deal, right? Price goes up, comes down, forms a low. It goes up again, it comes down, it got stopped at the previous low, right? One time, two time, right? When it goes up again, it comes down, and then it broke through. So at this moment, right, if you are trading, if you are watching the market, right, this is the time whereby you will say to yourself, right? I mean, obviously, if you know how to look at the chart the way we do, you are safe to yourself. The bull run era of gold is over. So if you are looking to buying more gold at this moment in time, like at that point everybody was buying gold, that kind of thing, no. It's time to stop buying gold altogether. All right, and then price went down. Right, price went down. Where did it stop? The orange line. Why? Because if we come back down, the previous one is the white line and the orange line that's supporting it, right? And then the white line is way so far off, right? So the nearest one is the orange line. And that's exactly where price stopped before bouncing back up. And this is an area to buy, right? So what we are trying to see is this, right? So you see, we don't want a whole bunch of messy, conflicting signals, right? Like a big salad bowl of technical indicators that are all saying different things, right? It's just that there's too much going on. When your chart is cluttered, it looks confusing. So the traders, like most people, when they have so many things, they do not know what kind of decision to make. So you need to look for a setup with just one clear idea. Right? Just one clear idea. Okay, so let me give you another example. So this is the S&P 500, right? This is the S&P 500. Okay, so now if you look at the chart itself, I've drawn the lines. Super clear, right? Super clear. Price goes up, test, these are the lows, it goes up from the highs, gets stopped exactly at the highs, comes down, gets stopped exactly at the lows, goes back up again. Now, when it breaks, it means what? This is the clear idea that the stock market, the overall market, is probably going to run after being in a range for a long time, isn't it? After being a range for a long time, right? This is a monthly time frame. This is since 1997 or so, right, to 2012, right? It has been in a range for a long time. Before, when it goes, right, this is where you want to capture the move and go, isn't it? So here, one touch, two touch, once, twice, and then the third time, boom, it breaks. Big gaps. The bigger the gap, the more powerful the break is going to be when it eventually breaks. So it goes up, it comes down, it forms the low, no big deal. It goes back up, it comes down, it forms a low. Now, are we seeing something similar over here? You see, it goes up, comes down from a low, goes up, comes down from a low. You want to get prepared, right? If this happens, if price comes down and breaks through this level, that's where like, hey, the uptrend is probably going to stop, right? But you do not say that, oh, I'm going to sell here. No, because the market can keep going up, right? So that's where it's only when it breaks below, that's where it's like, it's time to get out of the market itself. But if in the meanwhile, you just keep marking your levels, right, for the clear trade idea. So you want to see, like at any point in time, like this, when price is in a range, what you're looking for, the clear trade idea, right? The clear trade idea is when it breaks. This is where the big money is going to be. When it breaks here, when price has been congested below, you want to see what is the clear idea. The clear idea is when it breaks. Where is the big money at? This is where the big money is going to be. When the market goes up, when it forms the lows, when it breaks through the low, that's where you know this is a clear idea where the break is going to be. What's going to happen next, right? Okay. All right, so these are the kind of high probability trade setups. There's just one clear entry signal. So therefore, it's one strong trade opportunity. There is no like unnecessary indicators, no conflicting signals. All right, so now let me give you another example. All right, so now this is the USD JPY. All right, this is the weekly time frame. So over here, I got three lines. Right, these three lines is a Bollinger Band. All right, so now if you just see without me showing you anything, are you seeing the big clear idea? All right. Now, let's take a look at this. Price came down, got stopped at the middle Bollinger Band. Right? The middle Bollinger Band is usually where the main level of breaking. right? The idea of Bollinger Band is that if it breaks below, it's going to go down. If it breaks above, it's going to go up. If it breaks below, it's in a downtrend. If it breaks above, it's in an uptrend. All right, so you see, price came here, test once, natural rejection goes up, test, congested a little bit before it broke. Right, from this moment, the market has been in a downtrend all the way until it starts to test it again. So it tests after a long time. Naturally, when it goes back up, it's going to what? It's going to get stopped because it hasn't tested this level for a long time. So when it tests, it's going to get stopped, right? It's going to get stopped. It comes down before it tests again, and then it finally broke through. So now after breaking through, right, you see the gap became smaller, right? After breaking through, the big gap, and then small gap before it break through. What is the clear idea over here? That, hey, there's a potential that it can finally start the reversal of the downtrend into an uptrend, and it's time for us to go long. This is the clear idea at that moment in time. So at this moment in time, price ran up all the way up to where? The previous high area, right? The previous high area, right? Before it came back down to test. And what happens? It got stopped here. It got congested. These are multiple weeks. This is a weekly time frame. Multiple weeks before it finally broke through. Right? It finally broke through because the downward momentum was just too strong at that moment in time. Right? And then what happens next? What is the clear idea right now? After testing and getting above the middle Bollinger Band for a long time, when it break below, what is the clear idea right now? The clear idea is to go for the sell for it to drop downwards. Right? So at any moment in time, you want to see at this moment in time, if you're looking at chart this moment in time, what is the clear idea? When the market is dropping, right? When it tests, what happens? What is the clear idea over here? Right? It's probably going to drop, right? So that's where you're like, nah, I'm not going to buy right now, right? So then when it finally breaks through, what is the clear idea at this moment when you're looking at the chart itself? When you look from here, you look all the way to the back, there is a big potential that if it runs, it's going to be a big run. That's where the big money is going to be at. Right? That's where you want to look at taking such trade setups before going up. Right? Then when price come down to here again, you want to look at, okay, price is probably not going to break down soon because it's a strong level of rejection. And then after you test multiple bars before finally breaking through, look, every time is different, right? But when it finally breaks through, that's where you're like, oh, the uptrend may be over. And it could resume, like what happens over here, to go downwards. So that is the idea, the clear idea at that moment in time. All right, so you need to look for setups that are obvious, right? They are clean, that are aligned with how the big players, right, the banks, the hedge funds are trading, right? So when you take a trade like this, one that has a clear high probability entry that follows a proven system, you're going to love it. You want to trade like this every single day. So this is how I'm able to spot high probability trades before I even enter the market. So this is critical because you know why? Most traders, they open their charts and they just like randomly enter trades without knowing where the best setups are. Right? But when you follow step 1 of the 3-step system, you know exactly what trade you're looking for, right? You know exactly where the best setups are, right? You know exactly when the big money is moving, right? So the big question is like, hey, does this only work for me? No. It works for thousands and thousands of my students. Okay, so this is step 1 of the 3-step system, right? And I'm telling you, it works. It works so well. Okay, yeah, we got Marcus who said like, OMG, right? This is crazy, right? Luke said, I'm mind blown, right? This is the reality, right? You guys, like, this is how it works, okay? So we trade highly profitable setups to make big money, all right? Now, if you may be thinking like, hey, Ezekiel, this is not so difficult, right? That's right. Right? Trading profitably is not meant to be difficult. Right? In fact, it should be as easy as possible, as boring as possible. And that is successful trading. Right? You don't want every trade to be exciting. Because when it's exciting, it's not a business. You are over involved emotionally. Trading should be just like doing your daily work, right? It's normal